welcome to Connecting with Jennifer Filzen. And I have another Jenny on the line. We've got Jenny Weigle, and she is a friend of mine through Relationship Flywheel Bootcamp, which is through Pablo Gonzalez. And as I recall, Jenny has like dirt on Pablo because she's known Pablo for so long.
Can neither confirm nor deny that.
But she is a fellow podcaster and a total badass when it comes to community marketing. And so welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. This has been a much anticipated conversation, Jennifer. So I am ready. Let's dig into what do you have for me?
Oh my gosh. It's just a fun, let's go deep and let's get to know each other. All right. So you're in Florida. I'm from Florida. I'm from Jacksonville, but you're located where?
I'm from Florida. Now I'm located in Los Angeles, the
Go.
other West Coast, because I did grow up in Tampa. So I always tell my family and friends I'm now on the other West Coast.
There you go. And I'm in Monterey. So isn't that fun? You know, a lot of people are like, oh, Jen, are you going to move back to Florida? I'm like, nope. I love it in Monterey. And it is interesting, isn't it? When the tech boom was happening, I don't know if that's what got you to migrate out to California, but it was definitely, you know, jobs, opportunities, and for me, a love interest that got me to California 29 years ago, like crazy.
It was the same for me, actually. I've never admitted this on a podcast, so you're already getting some exclusive dish here. Yes, I was in a relationship that brought me out here, and for his career purposes, and we were only supposed to be out here for a year and then go back to Chicago, where I was living at the time. And I loved Chicago. I had become such a Midwest girl. I mean, I've got family from there. My dad's from there. And so when I moved to Chicago, everything just felt very natural and easy. And I loved the big city life and not having a car, using public transportation, that life along the lake kind of thing. So I was very surprised at myself when after 1 year in Santa Monica, I said to him, I don't want to go back. And he said, neither do I. So even though we did not work out, I will always be grateful to him because he was the catalyst that got me out here.
You know, thank God for the catalysts that get you out there, right?
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating. I agree. Like the relationship that I started when I got out here to California did not last, but my love affair with the state began. And wild birds, wild horses, wild birds, and horses and bears and tigers, oh my, could not drag me back because, you know, I always joke how the state bird in Florida is the mosquito. And here in Monterey, we just don't have an insect problem because it's cool enough. And quite frankly, that is fantastic. I mean, remember those palmetto bugs, those flying cockroaches? Those things are nasty.
Agreed. Jennifer, did you ever have mornings in Florida where you'd get ready for work or for something and you take a shower, get yourself all done up, and you'd walk outside to your car and within 10 minutes you were sweating because of the humidity? I don't miss that. I don't miss that.
Just getting out of the shower and trying to dry off and then trying to stay dry. The sweat. Yeah, I know.
I don't miss that, but I do miss my friends and family back there.
That's okay. It's called visiting.
Yes. Yes. Didn't you visit recently?
I did, actually. We went for a family reunion / celebration of life for my grand aunt, and it was a great opportunity for us to see a lot of family. It was great. It was so great. And you're right. It is so great to be from Florida, and it's great to visit. And a lot of people who aren't from Florida, they're like, oh, you're going to Florida. And they probably imagine that I'm sitting on a beach working on my tan, my non-existent tan, and probably doing Disney or something. I'm like, no. I'm visiting the grandmothers, 98 and 97. You know, I'm doing the family stuff and, you know, fretting about their health and their decline. So it's a great place, though, to be from. And admittedly, if you're going to have to go back anywhere on a regular basis, Florida ain't bad.
Agreed. Very much agreed. I couldn't have asked for a better childhood and early adult life starting there.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let's fast forward to what brings you out, what keeps you out in Los Angeles. So you are a maven about communities. So let's talk about that and what makes you special and unique in that regard.
Oh, thank you. The word maven. I've never heard anyone describe me like that before, so I'm so touched. Yeah, my consulting practice is called Jenny.community, coming up soon on my 1 year anniversary of launching the practice. I am an online community strategist. So what that means is that brands come to me for help creating online customer communities, or maybe a fan community, or some kind of digital community for certain purposes. And as you can imagine, when COVID started, many brands wanted an online community, since that was kind of the only option anymore. So, and in fact, it even spurred interest at the most basic level for a lot of brands. So there's, because of that, because of the time that has passed since COVID, many are more seriously considering starting their own community today. And I, before stepping into, my solopreneur life, I was at a software company called Koros, based out of Austin, and I was their most senior strategist in North America, helping the brands that signed on with them and came up to help get on their platform and create strategy and serve their customers. And I'm really lucky, Jen, because I do feel like I was born to be in this field, because even when I'm not consulting on how to build or launch a community, I myself am in or building communities. So the fact that I can get paid to do this, I mean, it's a joy, it's a blessing. And sometimes I pinch myself that I fell into this as a career field, because at the time that I did, excuse me, you could not study this in any school or academic program.
Correct. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is why I love you so much. We have so much in common, right? Florida, community, social media. Yes, I agree with you. When social media became a thing, and I was one of the first adopters of promoting businesses on social media back in 2007, 2008, 2009, when MySpace was the big dog and Facebook and Twitter were new, like, I was so excited that I was crafting a career as a social butterfly. Like, how cool is that? Now, fast forward, we've, the industry of social media has matured. It has gone from a complete new frontier with the wild, wild west and anything goes, to now it's becoming more regulated, to now where I was just commenting earlier with another podcast today, how we went from where creativity was the defining thing that got you hired, and now, because it's becoming more commoditized, data is very much the thing that people want to see. Okay, where are the results? What are the KPIs? What are all the things that are proving that this stuff works? Because it's so difficult to track, right? The buyer's journey is not always well documented. It's very circuitous and happenstance, right? So it's just, are you there at the right time? And have you been in front of them enough times for them to remember you? So it is interesting how it's changed and shifted. So bravo to you that you have this wonderful career, and bravo to you for first year anniversary. That's huge.
Thank you. Officially, it will be June 1st. That's the day my LLC was created. So I'm trying to think of something fun that I can do for my subscribers, my current and past clients, the people who have really lifted me up in this first year. And so if anyone's interested, stay tuned, because I still haven't decided, but I promise it will be something fun.
I have something, I am completely confident it'll be something fun and something online, right? But no, I mean, you're right. It's just interesting how COVID has been horrible. However, there's always something good that comes out of every bad situation. And the ability for people to truly connect and connect deeply online. I mean, isn't it cool that, like, we can crash parties that are now on the other side of the world, and it's via online meetings and chats, and it's just the coolest thing, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in this last year, as I've been meeting different community professionals, it's been from around the world and not just, based in the States. And I sit there in awe on each call. Like, I'm on a call with someone from Spain right now, someone from Africa. Like, this is amazing that this exists, that this is even possible, that I can make their acquaintance in this manner and even speak to them like that, like this face to face, but still, and then see them as we talk. And yeah, so it's a wonderful thing, and it's important, I think, during these times too, to remember those blessings that we do have, and make sure that we dedicate time to gratitude for that, because I know, especially during COVID, it's an easy time to forget all of that.
Oh, for sure. So now let's talk about the hows of community. So, a lot of businesses, they're like, well, I want to build a community online, but the idea of how to do it is rather daunting. So what are some of the steps that you take in order to establish these communities and really get them engaged?
Yeah. First off, you're absolutely right that a lot of businesses are hearing about the popularity of online communities today, and are that's what's giving me a lot of business. um, and so that's great. And yeah, the best thing to do to really get moving forward with a plan for community is to figure out how community will benefit your current business goals in some way. And I could sit down with almost any business leader and go over their goals with them and figure out a way that community could benefit them in some way. But is it always going to be the biggest focus of the year? Maybe not. It's just, you've got to be ready for it, because community is not only a technological change that you are setting up, and it's not only a change for your customers now to be part of this experience, it's a cultural change for your company to really start to understand that this is going to be a customer hub now. This is going to be where all things customer live digitally, and that is a huge shift for a lot of companies. So it's not an overnight thing, but really the first step is looking at your business goals for the year, and if it makes sense that a customer community fits into one of those, start taking the next steps. Yeah.
Nice. So now, do you think that as we shift to this community focused portion of our branding, do you think that the communities will be just as powerful as the sales and marketing team of a business? And B, do you think that they might actually supersede what is going on with the sales and marketing of a business?
They can, and in some communities they are, because what I've seen, especially in some B2B communities, is they've built up so much of a loyalty in the community that there are advocates in there. There are people who would shout from the rooftops about the products and services they are getting from a certain company. And they do, and they do it in the community. And then they also do it, in their own lives. And they take pictures of themselves wearing, community swag or something out and about. So when done the right way, yeah, you can absolutely build a powerful group of advocates who want to support your brand and be huge fans of it and get other people exposed to it and part of it. But you've also just got to make sure you're serving those members and your customers the right way. That kind of behavior also doesn't happen overnight. It needs to be instilled and nurtured.
True, true. So don't worry, sales and marketing people, you're not out of a job.
Oh, no, no, no. The communities that do that best today are ones that have been around for 5 to 8 years. I mean, yeah, and again, it's not happening enough to where they're laying off salespeople because, oh, we've got so many people in the community. No, no, no. The strongest communities have tapped into those. They recognize leads within their community. They inform their sales people or their customer success managers, and then they kind of go from there with a workflow. So there is a way.
Nice, nice. So now let's talk about those that you serve. What are the types of businesses that you're serving? And then also too, let's look at Jenny as a human being as well. Like, who else do you serve in your life? Is there family?
Mhm.
Is there a nonprofit or some kind of hobby that you pursue? Like, who is it that you serve in your life in all the areas?
Well, professionally, I'm serving enterprise businesses. B2B seems to be the most popular right now, but I have worked with B2C before. And something new for me, since the majority of my experience has been enterprise brands, is that I've got some late stage startups that have been contacting me to work together. So that's pretty exciting. And I'm excited to work with them and about expanding the size of businesses that I've worked with. Personally now, my home life, I've got a wonderful partner, John, and he's the reason I stay in Los Angeles and don't go wandering anywhere else. Something called to me saying, stay here, find your person, and it did. And his wonderful daughter and I have become very close throughout our relationship. So I'm very proud to be a stepmom figure to her.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Does she want to be like you when she grows up? What does she want to be when she grows up?
Right now, she just wants to play, play, play. So if there was a job in playing, which I'm sure she'll be able to find, that's what she wants to be. But she's really lucky that she's got a lot of adults in her life who love her and setting a good example. So she's going to have many people to look up to choose, where she wants to go in life. And outside of family, so my partner John and I, we love hosting dinner parties for all like various groups of our friends, people from the gym, friends that were my friends before we met, and then his friends before we met, now our combined friends. And he has exposed me to the wonderful world of wine because he is a wine collector. And dating him, I swear, is a masterclass in wine. So that's been really exciting and something that we do socially. But also, I love taking in all the experiences you could have in this city, and there are many. One of them, though, is So Far Sounds. Now, have you ever heard of So Far Sounds?
No.
Okay, these are musical or they're artists, and it's a night of music, independent music artists, and their shows are held in secret locations. So when you sign up, all you find out is the neighborhood, the general neighbor. In LA, it's the neighborhood. In some places, it is the city. In LA, you got to say the neighborhood. And you sign up, you get the address 36 hours before, and you don't know who the artists are till you get there. There's 3 artists, each one plays 20 minutes each. And they also, when you're there, they've got, flyers up saying who the artists are, their social media handles. They encourage you to follow them. Most of the events you can BYOB, bring, or maybe even food, drinks, and it's really neat. I have been to a So Far Sounds show in a microbrewery, in a museum, in a botanical garden, in a yoga studio, in a backyard, inside a living room, in a startup loft. I've lost track of all of them because I've been doing this for a number of years now. And it's one of my favorite communities to support. They used to have a membership model, which they got rid of when COVID started. And even though they are back having shows, they haven't reintroduced the membership model. But I really love it because it does support up and coming artists. And we're really lucky here in LA that a lot of this talent, is on close to being signed, or if not already. I mean, Billie Eilish, Leon Bridges, they were So Far Sound stars here in LA. So it makes for a wonderful date night, but also a wonderful night out with a group of friends.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. My husband and I dance West Coast swing. So if it was
Oh.
possible, we would be totally dancing the entire time.
And in some venues, that is, yeah, it kind of all depends what the venue is, and that's part of the thrill and the fun. And because even when you get the address, you don't really know yet, is it a business, is it a house, is it a park, what is this? I mean, I always look it up on Google a little bit, so I might, ruin a little bit of the surprise. But it's really fun, and I'm proud to support that community. And
Wow, that sounds like fun. And then wine tasting. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I got to tell you, when I was in my 20s and 30s and I was married to my first husband, his family was from Napa, and all of our friends, we were all wanting to learn about wine together. So we would have wine tasting parties at our house every single week. And we'd have a different theme. So just for fun, I've got some ideas for you for your wine parties.
all right.
We just would have so many events, and we would do this like straight every single week for like 6 months. And then we would have a party at the end of the season, and then take a break, and then fall in love with it again and start it up again. Cause it's a lot to, wash all those wine glasses once a week, every week for like months on end, right? But we would have like different themes for each night. And so we'd have like funny label night, strawberry and chocolates night, champagne night, wines from every state except for California, Pinot Noir night, wines from Argentina, wines from Spain. Like we would just pick like different stuff, and then we'd have some crazy activity. Like we'd have bad haiku night, or like, I'd have a group of dancers come in and do like a demonstration of flamenco dancing or just whatever. Like it was so much fun, and they were epic. And I started writing a book about how to be a party guru. And then that was like several computers ago. I don't even know where the file would be. You know how like sometimes you save files. So like I'll have to dig that up, or maybe I'll just restart it. But I'm like you. I love to be social. I love community and people, and just getting that awesome energy going of people connecting. And even as like a side note, like it was just so weird because, obviously online dating is relatively new phenomenon, but like, usually before online dating, you would go to a party and meet your significant other, right?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about starting a business where I host parties and you get to meet your significant other, because this online stuff is a little is a little interesting, right?
You could, yeah, do that. You could also do, have you ever experimented with eatwith.com? It's kind of a like Airbnb take on meals. And so you could say you're having a wine night this Friday and the theme is champagne, and sell a couple ticket, give a price to a ticket, put it up on Eat With, and you got to be open to having complete strangers coming to your home. But I've done that before too. And that's at a home in Malibu where they
So
grew
cool.
most of their food on their Malibu estate. And so that was a lovely meal. Yeah. So neat, the
Wow.
things that are out there today that inspire community, right?
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. Eatwith.com. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that down. Eat with, because that would be fun.
I can
Oh
see
my
you doing
gosh.
that, and I can absolutely see you doing that.
Totally. Yeah. Well, you don't really want my cooking, but yes.
All right, I'll take your wine though.
Yeah, there we go. Wine, and we'll order pizza.
Sounds good. Done right, it can be an excellent pairing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Pizza and fun. So I'm so curious, there's always something that drives us, something that gets us out of bed every day. What is it about community that makes you want to do this? Is there a story in your life that just, or is this just who you are in your DNA? Is it tied to your why of your divinely inspired gift to the world? Like, what is it about community that you love so much?
I do believe it's tied to my values, and going through the Brene Brown exercise of identifying my top two values, they were wholeheartedness and connection. Connection has come up as a value at many points of my life. So I know that your values change, as you go through life, but for some reason, connection has always been really critical to me. And so when I think back to why, what really set the foundation for that, I think back to growing up in my house in Tampa, and my parents were each one of 6 children. So I've got lots of aunts and uncles, and they are also very social people. So I grew up in a household where we were constantly having family gatherings or friend gatherings. There were always people over, and we're not just talking 3 or 4 other people. We're talking 10 or more people at least, and celebrating everything: holidays, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries. It just felt like we always had people in the house and that we were celebrating something or gathering. And I really took that to heart, and I wanted to continue that. And I went to college and would gather friends for different purposes. And I can see now how I've taken that and turned it into part of my business, and realized how it contributes to my purpose in life and how important it is to me. So it instilled something in me, but also it instilled and continues to awaken something in me that that gathering and connection it touches the soul, and it can touch the soul. Maybe not always, but for me, it absolutely touches the soul, and that's why I do it, and that's why I do my work, and that's why I get up and keep uh, trying to build what I'm doing here and working for my clients. I mean, just this upcoming Saturday, we're hosting an engagement party for some friends here at our home, and I am so excited. I'm thinking through every detail and how to make sure that this atmosphere, this space, and the ambiance and the food and just everything, it touches their soul, everyone's soul. But most important, the bride, soon to be bride and groom.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That is so cool. I mean, especially now that things are opening back up after COVID. And I don't even know if we're really done with COVID. I saw on Saturday Night Live the skit with Kate McKinnon dressed up as Dr. Anthony Fauci. And he's like, with Easter, COVID is a lot like Jesus. He rises again,
Yeah, we just don't.
Oh,
We don't know.
Again. That was kind of hilarious. But but I mean, it is fascinating how like we extroverts who love people, the shutdowns, the lockdowns. I mean, we had our online jollies, right? I know I hosted several online gatherings just so I could connect with my dance community or family. I mean, but I love what you're doing though. I think that's so cool. I want to be invited to one of your parties. How do I get on your guest list? Because you are so much fun.
Jennifer, let me know next time you're in LA and we will have one for you. Okay.
Okay, that would be great. Isn't that funny? It's funny. I know we're not that far away from each other. LA is about 6 or 7 hours by car. But man, I gotta say, it is just a world away after COVID. Like, I don't know about you, but pre-COVID, I would drive all the time. Yes, I preferred to fly, but driving down to Los Angeles or driving down to San Diego or Santa Barbara, wherever, like no big deal. After COVID, I mean, I'm just not really driving anywhere. It's like, you want me to get in the car? Oof, you're going to put me up, right? In your house, right? I mean, it's just kind of interesting how like the conversation, I mean, I'm kind of enjoying, and I cater to marketing for the auto repair industry. My auto repair industry friends are going to laugh at me, but I've enjoyed not driving as much. Isn't that weird?
It's true though, and you're not the only one, Jennifer, and this is going to impact how people take their virtual communities and have in-person events. It's going to be different from now on. It is going to be different because you're not the only one who feels that way. And while some people are also like, well, but I'm also sick of virtual events and I don't feel like driving. So community organizers and professionals are going to have to get really creative with how they decide to bring their communities together now. It's a challenge that I'm hearing from a lot of my clients and just from my whole field.
I agree. One of my clients is JWB. Pablo works with them.
Yes.
And I am they've nicknamed me the fairy godmother of the Not Your Average Investor community. So how we're doing it is that we're having in-person events in real life. Yay, we're doing meetups, but I get to go around to the different cities where there's a decent hub of them. And so we're going to be going to Denver at the end of this month. And then May will be Pittsburgh. And we just did Seattle last month. So it's kind of fun. You're right. It's like if you can at least get the in-person stuff, closer to where everyone else is and make it more convenient for them, it's certainly helpful. Yeah.
And from what I've seen, that looks like a fantastic community. I'm not in it, but I have stalked their homepage on Facebook groups.
Come on, you
and
the
numbers are fun. They just have it set up so well. It is definitely a prime example how to run community. And so everyone should be so proud. Yeah, phenomenal group there.
Oh yeah, and you're welcome to join the group. There's no cost of entry. It's just anybody interested in real estate. And it's really kind of fun. You're absolutely right. The community is what has created or asked for a lot of things. So a few weeks ago, we were on a podcast, and there was a guy talking about cash flow. And so in the chat, we're all blowing up the chat, and someone's like, that game Cash Flow, but from Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, that's a fun game. We should play that game when we have our meetups. And I was like, okay, it's a great game, but it takes a couple of hours. I don't even know if we really should do it during the in-person things, but we could do it online. What if we set up a Sunday game day? Voila. We gave birth to a game day that Sunday. It was so popular. We're going to do it again this upcoming Sunday, the 24th of April. So feel free to join us.
Oh, that's awesome. So glad to hear that. Yeah, that kind of interest is coming out of the community. And sounds like, gosh, different chapters are being created now. You're going to all these places.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Oh yeah, it's going from being strictly online to now in person and regional, and you're absolutely right. It's amazing being part of a community around a brand that is, how do I say this? I'm very careful whenever I'm telling my friends and family, like, come join us for these meetups. I'm like, it's not a bait and switch meeting. It's, in fact, here's an interesting discussion about it. So when something is going on around a brand, fair enough, the brand is probably going to be like, okay, what's my return on investment? I'm putting on this community thing. Am I going to get some business out of it? Mm-hmm. And of course you will. But That should not be, this is my own opinion, that should not be the main focus of why you have this community. The community is for us to get to know each other, find out what we have in common, and we get ourselves more education, more engagement, more entertainment even around this brand. And it's like, if you really want it to be the organic success that it should be, don't throw a sales pitch or a PowerPoint slide every single time you meet. That is a way to kill it. Like, in fact, there was a discussion, there were some very well-meaning community members like, shouldn't we have like a spreadsheet? Like, shouldn't we do some kind of presentation? I'm like, nope. The meetups that I'm hosting at this time are going to be strictly social. And I'm doing it for the reason of, I want this to truly be a warm, welcoming group. And I want lifelong friendships to be established. Believe me, enough sales will come out of it organically without a spreadsheet, without a PowerPoint presentation. And guess what? Yes, they have made an extra $40 million in revenue because of this organic community. Yeah, and why? Well, because we're all sharing our stories about real estate investment. We're all becoming friends. We're all learning from each other. So a few years ago, I only had 2 properties. Now I've got 5. Why? Well, because my other friends within the community are buying more properties, and they're showing me how easy it is to convert my stocks into a self-directed IRA. So it's like, boom, in the last month, I bought 2 properties, but it wouldn't have happened had it not been for what I learned and the safety and comfort I feel within the community. So for any business that is listening to this podcast right now, between me and Jenny, don't always put transaction as your forefront in thinking and purpose of your community. It should be relationship first. Relationship first will always, always bring you more money, more time, more knowledge.
I agree completely, Jen. Couldn't have said any better. When you try to start introducing anything salesy into a community, people catch on to that, and it makes people feel uncomfortable, and you have lost the goodwill that brought them there in the first place. Yeah. And something I like to tell my clients that also have regional meetups or starting regional meetups, and they too have the same concern. Well, shouldn't we have some kind of presentation or something? No, you should not really talk about the business. You should talk though about the community. You should let people know the purpose of the community. And so whether that's flyers, whether it's a little something that you have people read as they're signing in or something, whether it is a little presentation, whether it's somebody up on a mic or up at the front, speaking, all they need to talk about is the purpose of the community and why everyone is gathered there today. And that is what you need to focus on. You start to go into a sales pitch or anything else, you're going to lose. It's going to lose its essence.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because here's the deal. We're always sold something.
Yeah, we're getting sold things all the time. I'm sitting here looking at my pen. There's an M on it from Marriott. I'm getting sold by Marriott right now. I mean, we're getting sold by Zoom in front of, like, just looking at this. I'm getting sold by the logo for my webcam, Logitech. Like, we're getting sold, all the time. We're sick of it.
It's true. It's true. And it's let's put it in terms that some businesses or some folks might appreciate. It's like going on a first date and the girl asks you if you want to get married right away. It's like buzzkill, right? Like, can we just get to know each other, please?
I love that analogy, and I would like to borrow it, please, for future presentations.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do. Because if it gets them, because it's true. It's like, and I'm generalizing here, but I'm going to make a statement, and then I'm going to back it up by not sounding, I don't want to sound sexist or anything like that, because that's not my purpose. But women tend to be community minded and men tend to be individual minded. I'll go into that in a second. But, women tend to flock to these communities. Again, I'm generalizing, bear with me here. But again, if you are a male-dominated business or a male-led business, and you're just focusing on the ROI, and you're expecting the community to thrive, You need to understand that you have to take the mindset of the community-driven people, which predominantly tend to be women. Now that I've said that, let me back up and explain why I'm saying all these things. I have a friend, Karen Blackwell, who wrote a book called You Can't Fix What You Can't See. And the thesis of her book is that in the workplace and in life, but especially in the workplace, why are female engineers quitting? They've got all their education, they finally become engineers, and then they're just leaving. Why is that? Well, her thesis in her book, and I'm not being as thorough as I probably should, go read the book, You Can't Fix What You Can't See by Karen Blackwell. But the idea is that women tend to be, not always, but tend to favor being community-minded, where there's support, lifting, sharing of ideas. And a lot of male-dominated industries, including auto repair, including engineering, including, think of all the male-dominated industries, tend to be individual-minded, where it's like, oh no, I'm going to hold my information close to my chest. I'm not going to show any support. My way of showing humor is to rib you and to tease you and to mock you, whereas you don't see that so much in a community-minded thing. So really what my message is that if you are a business owner, first off, you need to get that book, You Can't Fix What You Can't See by Karen Cornwell, because what I did is I read the book, fell in love with it, saw that it really isn't a gender issue. And by the way, all of us have leanings toward community-minded and leanings toward independent-minded. Mm-hmm. So as an exercise with me and my Rockstar Squad, we wrote down all of the 33 areas, I think, that she talks about, like, where are we on the spectrum of community versus independent? And so we would look and write down our names. Are we this way? Are we this way? Are we somewhere in the middle? And because of that exercise, I can now look at that and I can look to see how best to communicate with my employees after that exercise and speak to them in the language that you need to hear.
That's impressive. And what a gift to have something like that to better understand and know your employees.
Yeah. In fact, now that I have new employees, I need to update it. So let's go through that exercise again. I know what I'm doing when I'm leading the next exercise. But the point being is that, yes, please shout it from the rooftops. If you want community, think like a community member.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so impressed with that. What JWB is it? Their community. Who runs their community? Who's their community manager?
It's a team under Pablo called Be the Stage. Be the Stage.
Okay, so it is outsourced to Pablo's team. I wasn't sure if it was in-house. Okay.
And they now have a community manager in team. So it's a partnership between JWB and Be the Stage.
I see. Makes sense. I mean, yeah. Pablo.
Yeah, right. And Pablo being the leader of community, he's just amazing. Always relationship before transaction. That's the whole premise behind their business model at Be the Stage. Yeah. So it's a really cool. It's cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Very drawn to that because of it. It's a magnetic. It's magnetic messaging. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that is why podcasting is like so exciting, right? No longer, and social media, podcasting, social media, all the cool things. Zoom has brought us so much. I mean, look at it. We are now in a position where we really don't need television anymore. We just don't. Viewership of the internet surpassed television in 2018. And so no longer do you have to wait for somebody to discover you and you could be a star. No, you can go onto TikTok or whatever social media channel, LinkedIn. You can go and create your own podcast. You can go and create your own library of content, and you can be your own brand. And interestingly enough, pre-COVID, we had all these influencers. And it was all about the influencers. Now what you're seeing is, okay, well, all right, where's the community around that influencer? Like Naz Daily. I love watching him because every time he's doing something, he's always got like a whole community in the background of all sharing that. That's today's,
Yeah.
60 seconds or whatever they're saying. It really is a matter of, can you bring people in and rally around the cause? So awesome. I love this conversation.
Me too. I wish we were in person and had a nice glass of wine with our.
I know, right? I know. So final thoughts. What is some advice that you have for anyone who wants to develop a community, whether it's a small single person solopreneur or a multi-million-dollar business?
Talk to your ideal community members first. I can't tell you how many brands have contacted me. We have an idea for community and we've listed all this out. It's going to be great. Help us launch it. I'm like, that's awesome. Where did these ideas come from? What have your customers said? Well, we haven't really asked them about that yet. This is why I'm glad I am there to help brands that haven't taken that step yet, because I understand the idea and the premise of community can be so exciting if you are really all about it, and you want to get started on it right away. I know that feeling. I've had that feeling many times. No, but first, talk to your ideal community members. So if this is going to be a customer community, then talk to your customers. If this is going to be a fan or like enthusiast community, talk to people who would be there. And usually those people are heavy on social media too. So you can start there, find out who's been tweeting you or forwarding or sharing your stuff, and and just have a conversation first. Say, hey, we're thinking about this idea. Would you have any interest in connecting with our other customers? And if so, what is it? What do you want to learn from them? What do you want to connect on? What is it you want to share with each other? What do you want to ask one another? What would incentivize you to come to this community? What would incentivize you to keep coming back to this community? What's the information you want to see first when you log in? I've got a whole list, as you can tell, but these are the critical pieces of information that will inform the next steps as you create a strategic plan, as you select a platform vendor. You will always relate it back to what happened in the interviews with your customers first, and hopefully try to implement the vision that they were starting to, and the picture they were starting to paint.
Love it. Oh, Jenny, how do people find you? Let's write this all down. How do they get more of your community awesomeness?
I think the best way is to type into your browser jenny.community, and you can find all kinds. You my social links. If you click on blog, you can subscribe to or just read my blog. And yeah, let's take it from there. And if you are subscribed to my blog, you will find out soon about some fun announcements about some other content pieces, I'll say, that will be coming out soon.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Good for you. Bravo.
Thank you.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with Jenny and connecting with her. I mean, isn't that cool? Like, of course, she's a connection girl. I'm a connection girl. If you want to feel connected, here we are connecting. But truly, though, Jenny, I'm so proud of you. I'm glad to call you a friend. And I really look forward to actually seeing you in person someday and hanging out. So much in common. So much in common.
Same here. Jen, thank you for being an inspiration to me as a female stepping into working for myself. Meeting you has just been, there's no words. There's no words. I'm always admiring what you're doing, even from the side. You don't always know it, but I read your blog posts and I take in what you're doing on social, and I look at how you're structuring your websites, and I learn from you, not only in when we were doing the boot camp together, but I just learned from everything you've established in your business. Thank you for being an inspiration.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for letting me know I've made an impact. You know what's fun is that none of us know who's reading our stuff, who's watching our stuff, who's listening. And I'm surprised on a constant basis, like, oh, people are paying attention. Thanks for paying attention. I guess my marketing's working. Yay.
Yes, you're making a bigger difference than you even realize.
I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us. Please, please, please go connect with Jenny.community. Hers is with a Y. Mine was always with an IE. Do you know how hard it is to be an IE, Jenny, with all the Y's out there? Anyway, Jenny.community. Go check her out. Connect with her, be friends with her, and support her because she's awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.